You know, you guys have feasted your eyes on my meat multiple times now, but I think it's time you got a taste of my cream sauce.
It's Some Guy Who Could, starring Brett Picorni. Featuring Brett Picorni. Guest stars on the show include Sal, Peppy, and the lovely Paula. Today's episode is brought to you by Brett Picorni.
Raise your hand if you love Alfredo sauce. Come on, you should be raising your hand. Seriously, Alfredo sauce is one of God's greatest gifts to mankind. Well, Brett, if you love Alfredo sauce so much, why don't you marry it? Well, maybe I would. For real, though, Alfredo is wonderful. I absolutely love it, and I'm gonna make you a very special Alfredo today. It's actually pretty darn easy, and all you need to do is start with a roux. Roux, fancy word. What's in it, Brett? Well, flour and butter. Now, normally you start with regular butter, but I'm gonna use garlic butter, and what I have here, yes, it's an entire jar full of Papa John's garlic butter. No, I don't know how to make it. Yes, it's a full jar of Papa John's garlic butter, and no, I'm not gonna tell you how I got it. Anyway, we want equal proportions of butter and flour, so I'm gonna use 3 tablespoons of each. And a 1, and a 2, and a skiddly diddly do. Don't judge. I've got this stuff nice and hot. Now I'm tossing in 3 tablespoons of flour, because like I said, we want equal proportions. Just go ahead and give it a good mix. Now, I do have a whisk here, but I don't want to use that just yet. At the start of the roux, it's very thick and clumpy, and if I use that whisk, it's just gonna get caught up in the whisk. It's not gonna, cook evenly, and it's just, yeah, that's no bueno, okay? So, for now, I'm using a wooden spoon. Once we start to add the cream, though, then we'll get into the whiskey business. Thing about a roux, you want to keep going until it at least starts smelling like freshly popped popcorn. Once you start getting that popcorn smell, that's what's called a white roux. Let it get a little darker, that's what we call a brown roux. Keep going until it's dark as chocolate, and it's a chocolate roux.
Stirring, 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 oh, while my peeps are learning. Keep that roux stirring.
Care to guess what I'm smelling? That's right, freshly popped popcorn. That means this roux is doing well. It's breaking down, and pretty soon I'm going to start adding that cream for the cream sauce. Let me go ahead and just get that heat full. And, it's a brand new cream, so I got to open this bad boy. Keep it stirring. All right, here we go. Don't want to burn this roux. Start adding the cream. And look at that, it's so thick, still so very thick. It actually, when you add that cold cream, it thickens it a little bit more. That's why I keep going. This stuff no longer resembles a dough, so now I feel comfortable using the whisk. Now, with cream sauces like this, you can use milk. There's nothing wrong with that. I just prefer to use heavy cream because, it's very heavy and it's very rich and creamy. So it's going to give you the most full flavor of any sort of cream base you use, whether that be milk, half and half, or cream. Now, if you look at it, it's still pretty darn thick here. And it doesn't have a ton of flavor, so that's why we gotta add the flavor. And one of the things I've got here, black garlic. I'm gonna add this into the mix because, it's still got that garlicky flavor. Not so intense, but very subtle. But it's also got a nice sweetness because you caramelized all the sugars in that garlic when you made this stuff. Oh, you haven't made it yet, have you? We're gonna fix that in a future episode, wink, wink. And bloop, 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 bloop. All that black garlic just going right on in there. I've been curing it in olive oil, so it helps preserve it. It also gives you some really nice tasting olive oil. Now, we do want to keep flavoring this because it's mostly, at this point, flour and cream. Yes, I put in some garlic butter at the start, but it's not going to hold on its own. So, what do we want? We want some black pepper, of course. We also want some onion powder. Some garlic powder, because you can't have too much garlic when it comes to Alfredo. We're adding some accent, a little bit of MSG. Nothing bad for you there. It's actually not bad for you at all. Just adds a good flavor. And probably most importantly here, salt. Make sure you're tasting continually along the way. It's very important because you need to know if it tastes good. Right now, I think it could use a little more garlic and black pepper, maybe a dash more onion. Now, as it is right now, this is not yet an Alfredo. It's actually more of a country gravy. It's a really good one at that. Delicious. This would be fantastic with some biscuits. However, I didn't set out to make country gravy. I set out to make Alfredo, and what that needs is cheese. Now, before I add the cheese, I need to thin this out a bit more. And for that, I'm going to use some white wine. I've got a good Sauvignon Blanc, which, is it a good one? Yeah, it's pretty decent. Add it just a little bit at a time. We want that alcohol to cook out. And we also don't want it to curdle any of this sauce. Now, something else I'm going to add is called sodium citrate. You can buy this stuff on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for you guys. But anyway, this is the stuff that, let's say you want your cheese to take on a velvety texture, like Velveeta. Is that why Velveeta is called Velveeta? Because it's velvety? Anyway, you don't need much of this stuff, just a little bit. And what this is gonna do is gonna help our Alfredo sauce remain a sauce even when we refrigerate it. Do you need it? No, but like I said, if you want it to stay a sauce, this stuff helps. I can't tell you how many times I made an Alfredo and I had it solidify in the fridge overnight. Anyway, enough about that. Let's start making this into an actual Alfredo. Right here, I've got some of that Parmesan you saw me grinding up in the beginning. And we're just gonna stir that in a few pinches at a time. We really want the cheese to incorporate into the sauce. We don't want it to turn into strings. We want it to become a part of everything. We want it all to meld together. So we just keep this stirring, we keep adding pinches at a time and incorporating this cheese in nice and slowly. Now, Parmesan makes a great sauce. It really does, but I like having more than just one cheese in my Alfredo. That's why I'm also going to be adding a little bit of provolone and, of course, some baby Swiss. If you have the option, you want to freshly shred the cheese, but, you know, it's a little hard to find baby Swiss and provolone that you can shred, or at least it's easier to find it in the sliceable form. And the slices, they'll work just fine. And that is the last of that Parmesan. I might add a little bit more white wine just to thin it up a little bit because it is getting pretty thick. But boy, is that good. All right, time to start adding in this provolone. Whoop! I didn't want to do full slices at a time, but that one's going in. This is going to be take a little bit longer to melt in properly, so you know you want to really tear it into little pieces and put in one at a time and go slowly. But I'm working this one big piece that just fell in. Bloop, blop, and of course we can't forget the Swiss. Now, guys, I know I've been adding stuff, but really, we've been done with this Alfredo for a while now. There are many places in which I could have stopped and said, here we go, we've got Alfredo, but you just, the key to it is to keep it going and add what you need to make it taste the way you want it to taste. So, get what you want to flavor it with, add stuff to your heart's content, just make sure it has the right flavor and the right consistency for what you're looking for in an Alfredo sauce. Me, like I said, like you've seen, I love Parmesan, provolone, and baby Swiss. Now, as you can see, this is a lot of Alfredo sauce. This is way more than a jar. It's way more than 2 jars. I would recommend freezing some if you're not going to use it all this week. But who am I to tell you how to do things? I'm just some guy who cooks. I do want to taste this properly for you guys. I don't want to leave you hanging. So I've got a little bit of bread here. I'm going to dip it just like as if I were, you know, wiping up the leftover sauce on my plate. Oh yeah. Woo, that is good. That is a good Alfredo. In fact, I'm gonna get a nice big dunk on this piece. Look at the steam coming off of there. It is burning my thumb. Ow, ow, ow. But that's not as bad as burning the roof of my mouth, so I'm gonna wait a second. Oh yeah. I'm grabbing some more bread. This stuff is darn good, and for real, you get all those cheeses coming through. Look at the sauce. It's nice and thin. It's not gonna clump up, at least I hope it's not. The sodium citrate should keep it from doing that. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn off the heat, and I'm gonna keep dipping this bread. Till next time, guys. Yum! Oh, this is so good. It's burning me and I don't even care. See ya. You're still here? Oh, you guys, you do care. Well, as long as you you're still here, I hope you wouldn't mind hitting like and subscribe, because both of those would help me tremendously. And if you could also, share it with your friends. Spread the word. Spread the word. Comment below as well. And don't forget to watch it again if you missed Sal and Peppy. Once I get to 100 subscribes, I'm gonna do a live video. And whoever can tell me where Sal and Peppy were in all of these videos is gonna win an awesome prize. Till next time, guys.